Hello guys, how are you all? Welcome to my channel. So, today we are gonna see, what if Naruto fall in love with Nami, part 1. Subscribe if you enjoy the video. Let's start the story. At the Valley of the End here we find two wounded warriors. One is a quite tall teen, though some would mistake him for an adult due to his feral side. He has long spiky sun-kissed hair with small bangs down the side of his face that shines throughout the barren wasteland that was once a beautiful land. He has three whisker-like markings on each side of his cheek that make him resemble the looks of a fox, and his bright blue eyes that from time to time change red and slitted. He is 6'2" feet tall and has a horrible orange jumpsuit on that is now ragged due to the battle that has taken place. As he glares down at his opponent, this boy was Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. His father is Minato Namikaze and mother Kushina Uzumaki, as they were both feared throughout the land due to their overwhelming power that could rival the two-tailed beast. On the other side of the field, no one would care about except a pink-haired Sakura, one of Naruto's teammates or soon-to-be ex-teammate, who is currently bleeding out with tears streaming down her face while staring at Naruto's opponent, who turns out to be Sasuke Uchiha. The last remaining man of his clan. He has a grey robe wrapped around his body and a purple snake-like belt that wraps around his waist. His hair was jet black and in the shape of a duck's, but his eyes were in the Mangekyo Sharingan form, and he was also glaring daggers at Naruto. "This is over, Sasuke. I'm never gonna let you finish Madara's work." Naruto coughed as he began going through hand signs that made Sasuke's eyes widen with slight fear as he began to back away slightly. "Stop it, you're not thinking straight," he shouted as he went through hand signs with him. However, he stumbled when he heard Naruto call out his final move. "Using Inga no Jutsu, Sacrificial Seal Jutsu," he shouted as he slammed his palms on the ground and a small black hole began to form in front of him as Naruto and Sasuke were dragged into the black hole as the area around them was left in complete silence as the two ex-teammates were now nowhere to be seen as the black hole was now gone, with Kakashi looking at the spot where the black hole once was as a single tear went down his eye. "Somewhere nowhere. Kid, wake up. Kid." Kurama, the Kyuubi inside him, shouted as Naruto slowly began to open his eyes. "Oh, shut it, furball, my head hurts enough as it is." Naruto moaned in pain as he looked around and noticed he was in some sort of void or limbo. As he looked around, he noticed the body parts scattered around the place as he raised an eyebrow. "Hey Kurama, how come we never ended up like that?" he said as he pointed at the head of Sasuke and looked at his eyes were still open. "Well, I had to do something that I figured you would be pissed off at me if I told you," Kurama said nervously. "Uo, and what would that be?" he asked. Demanded. "Wow kid, calm down. I had no choice but to turn you into a Hanyo, half-demon," Kurama said with a sad chuckle, expecting for Naruto to start shouting at him, but to his surprise Naruto looked happy. "Wow, really? That's so cool now. I am a bit like you," Naruto said as he examined his body and noticed he had an orange foxtail and ears with white tips, and his whiskers also became a bit more dense to make him look more feral than before. His fangs had become a bit longer and his body had grown a few more inches and more bulky, which made his orange suit look too tight for him to wear anymore. "Well, not that I'm complaining, Kurama. What can we do in a void, or for that matter how do we get out?" he asked as he entered his mindscape, which was no longer a sewer but a lush green forest, and he saw the fox lying down in his favorite place under a tree. "Well kid, we will be able to get out in maybe 1 to 3 days and we will probably be heading to a complete different world, so in that time, I am going to help you in controlling your demon half," he says as he grins evilly at him with a mad crackling laugh which caused Naruto to sweat drop while looking at the fox. "Geez, thanks you old ass fox," Naruto grumbled as he sat down in a meditating position. "So how many tails will I have?" Asking this, Kurama looked at him and grinned. "Well kid, you will have every tail that I have, plus my chakra will come back to me once you have all 9, but to you all 9 tails worth of my chakra will be stored in your one tail, and you might end up living as long as me too." Naruto chuckled as he looked at Kurama. "Well, at least you will stay with me." Kurama smiled back at him, or grinned depending on your point of view. "Well, let's get started because this is going to be fun for me," he chuckles as Naruto stood up and begun to crack his bones in his body, indicating that he was ready, but if you looked closer at his face, you would be able to tell that he was a few shades paler. "Let's do this then." Time skip 3 days. Naruto looked around as the area around him began to shake and another black hole suddenly appeared beneath his feet and sucked him in. However, the last thing you heard him say was, "Oh no, I'm going to get another headache." "Unknown pirate ship," was the sound of our blonde hero, who only a few moments ago came flying through the black hole which opened up in the sky, and now he is falling towards water, which is, as far as the eye can see, except for one ship that is just a few moments ago. "Page Bunshin no Jutsu," Naruto shouted as he was falling into existence and grabbed Naruto and spun him round and threw him towards the ship, and he went flying through the deck of the ship. "What the hell was that?" one of the men on the ship shouted. "This could be interesting." A man with 3 scars down his left eye, a black cape around his body, and red hair said, as he looked down in the hole with a smirk and raised eyebrow as he got up and began to walk towards the big hole in his ship. As he was walking towards the hole he heard a groaning sound and saw bits of planks being thrown out of the hole as they seen a young adult rubbing the back of his head as I slowly stood up to reveal his face to the people of the ship. "Damn the hurt," he said, as he rubbed the back of his head until he realized where he was and looked up at the red-haired man and chuckled a bit. "He's sorry about that," he said, as he got out from the hole in his ship. That was until he heard the whole crew burst out in laughter and looked over to the guy in red hair again. "What?" he shouted, and then the red-haired man rubbed his eyes a bit from laughing. "Oh, you're not normal, kid," he said and chuckled a bit as Naruto's eyebrow twitched slightly at being called a kid. "So?" he asked as he cracked his back. That made some of the other crew members cringe at. "Hey, what's your name, kid?" he asked. That was until Naruto narrowed his eyes at him a bit and sighed and went into his mindscape for a moment. "Hey Kirk, can we trust him?" he asked as he looked at his soon-to-be lifetime friend who was currently rubbing a claw under his chin. "Yeah, you can trust him, kid. I don't sense any evil or ill intent coming from this man, though it kind of peeves me off that he has red hair." Naruto burst out laughing in his mindscape as he smiled towards the redeed "Hey cherry head names Narutoe," he hummed as he laughed as he seen the red-haired man's eyebrow twitch until he smirked back. "Nice to meet you, Goldilocks. I am Shanks, though people who don't like me call me the pirate red-haired Shanks for my title," he laughed back and soon the both of them had their arms around each other. "I like you," Naruto said as he chuckled. "My mother had a similar nickname to you, only a lot more scary," he laughed as he seen Shanks shiver a bit. "Oh, and what was her title?" he asked out of curiosity and paled a bit when he saw Naruto's smirk. "Well, she was No, as red hot habanero to her allies or friends, and to her enemies she was No, as the Red Death." Naruto laughed more as he seen most of Shanks' crew shiver and then he pointed towards Shanks. "Hey, by the way, since you're a pirate, does that mean you are good or bad?" he asked as he sat down on the ground. Shanks just shook his head as he went to the banister of the ship and laid back on it. "Depends on what you mean, kid. There are 2 kinds of pirates, and if I'm guessing the one you're thinking of is the ones that pillage villages, kill and rape families and all that other stuff?" he asked as all he got from Naruto was a nod. "Well, we are the other kind, the kind that lurk the seas out of freedom and adventure, and mainly for the sole purpose of wanting to become the king of the pirates." He was going to continue until a sea king appeared from out of the water and about to attack the ship but wasn't able to as Shanks' arm turned black and shiny as he flashed towards the creature and punched it in the cheek, sending it flying across the sea. After the battle with the giant fish, Naruto walked towards the captain and asked him and pointed towards his arm. "Hey, what was that you used?" he asked as Shanks turned towards the man as he chuckled a bit. "Oh, that was Conqueror's Haki. It goes black to show you have learnt it, and when full mastered you are able to punch a battleship and it will most likely explode and you would walk away without a scratch," he said with a laugh at his new friend's gobsmacked expression. Then he grinned at Shanks. "Hey, if you can teach me all Haki, I will teach you some of my tricks that will make devil fruits look like child's play." He smirked as he remembered Kurama telling him about most of the things on this world, like the 2 kinds of pirates, world government, warlords and emperors, and he already knew Shanks was an emperor. This caught Shanks' attention with a raised eyebrow and a smirk back towards Naruto. "Sure, Naruto, but Conqueror's Haki is different from the others, as only 100 people per 10 years get Haki, and I want you to show me what you mean by making devil fruits look like child's play," he said as he saw Naruto get in a stance that show his legs spread and his arms curled into fists as he closed his eyes and told Kurama to help with releasing half his Kai, killing intent as he did so, and to his surprise, he only saw Shanks buckle his legs a bit towards the pressure and saw nearly all his crew wither out cold or on one knee. "I'm sorry about that. I would have used all of it, but I would have killed some of your crew." Naruto then went to form a Rasen Shuriken and threw it towards the sea that ended up creating a huge explosion that made some of the ancient weapons look like toys. As he wiped a bit of sweat from his forehead he looked over to Shanks and smirked. "Well, I can't teach you that, but there might be something that I can teach you which is in my opinion much cooler." He chuckled as he formed a familiar hand sign and 20 clones appeared from smoke. "So what do you think?" he asked with a bit of hopefulness in his voice. After a while Shanks managed to control his amazed face and look over to Naruto. "There is definitely a high possibility that you will be able to learn Haki within 3 to 4 years, but look on the bright side, we will party like no other crew has before." He shouted with pride in his words which made Naruto sweat drop, but smile. "Sure, I'd love to." That was until Shanks blinked a bit and looked at Naruto. "Hey, do you have anything planned after the 3 or 4 years training?" he asked with a raised eyebrow. Naruto looked over to him with a smile and said a simple nope as he laughed as Shanks and his crew face vaulted, and after he regained his composure, he looked at Naruto seriously, which Naruto noticed and turned serious also. "I want you to join a kid which I would treat like my own, but us pirates all have to go our separate ways if we live on the sea," he said with a sad smile as I thought about a certain green-haired barmaid. Anyway, I want you to look for a kid by the name of Luffy, and after the training I want you to join his crew, and besides he pulled out 2 posters, one was of Nami the cat burglar and Nico Robin the demon child, as he suddenly heard something he would never want or expect to hear. He heard Kurama in his mindscape get blown back by a nosebleed, so Naruto only muttered one word. "You're a fox." He laughed as he suddenly went through some hand signs to perform a complex summoning jutsu, and in a red poof of smoke there lay a red-orange fox on his back with blood running down his nose. "Well, since the fox seems to like them, and I'm going to stay here for a long time, might as well tell you my story." One long-ass story later, here we find Naruto sitting in the kitchen with a big cup of sake, and Shanks next to him who had steam out of his ears with Yasop, and his right hand holding him back from finding Naruto's village and burning it to the ground. Not that he would find it. Naruto could only smile his true smile at Shanks, and hugged him after a while, telling him thank you. After a while we now see Shanks and Kurama in a corner looking over some of the hottest pirates in the world, while on the outside Naruto was grumbling things like being a pervert, but on the inside he was smiling that could finally be himself, even if it was a huge pervert. As Naruto looked and seen Yasop walking towards him, as Naruto gave him a friendly wave. "Hey Naruto, I got a favor to ask ya," he hears Yasop say, as he looked over to him with a raised eyebrow to show him he was listening well. "I've got a kid, his name is Yusop, and he's part of Luffy's crew, and well I want you and Yusop to have these," he says, handing Naruto 2 sets of 2 revolvers. One set has your name inscribed and the other has Yusop's. "I want you to give him this too." He hands Naruto 18 letters. "That's for all his birthdays." Naruto laughs a bit but nods and looks over to Shanks. His eye begins to twitch again as he sees him and Kurama out cold on the deck with blood running down their noses and wanted posters scattered over their body. "Damn it, you two, get a hold of yourselves, you pervs." Naruto shouts with a big sweat drop as he waves off Yasop. "Sure, I'll give him these, just remind me when I leave, because I am gonna be here a long time." He chuckles as he turns his attention back towards the captain who is currently rubbing the blood off his nose. "Hey Shanks, do you know if we will be heading to any island anytime soon?" he asks, as Shanks looks over to Naruto and nods. "Yes, we will be heading to Alabasta soon, and you might even see Luffy and get to know your soon-to-be captain, but you have to finish your training first." Shanks laughs as he begins walking towards the captain's quarters. Naruto turns towards the front of the ships and looks up into the distance of the never-ending sea of blue, which in his opinion was beautiful. He then sat in a meditating position as he enters his mindscape to see Kurama, who had went back into his mindscape when he passed out due to blood loss. "Hey Kur, so this is gonna be a new adventure for the both of us, huh?" he asks as he opens a mental link with Kurama, who was still looking at the posters and then looked over to Naruto with a smile. "Yup, me and you can finally act how we have always wanted to without me having an Uchiha on my ass and without the villagers on your ass. This is going to be a much more fun life for the both of us, so we might as well make the most of it since we are going to live forever." Kurama laughs as he goes back to looking at the posters. That was until Naruto took the posters that caught his eye earlier. The first was Nami. She has bright orange hair that flows down to her waist, light skin, and a cute face that would make any model jealous of, and in the poster you could only see she was wearing a bikini, which showed of her impressive bust, that made Naruto have a small nosebleed and mentally curse Kurama and Jiraiya for infecting him with their pervert natures, as he leaves his mindscape and lies back against the deck and stares at the clouds, which caused a certain ninja to sneeze as he gave of a happy sigh. "The new journey, huh? This is going to be interesting." 3 weeks later, it has been 3 weeks since Naruto has landed on Shanks' ship, and he can happily say that being a pirate is the coolest thing since wanting to becoming Hokage, and he is looking forward to getting his first bounty, and he was surprised when he seen that Shanks was worth 850 million. And when Shanks told him about Luffy's dad's bounty, he ended up falling off the ship, although he didn't land in the water, thanks to using his chakra, much to the shock of the crew, but they just shrugged it off, saying that they have seen some shit, which made Naruto and Kurama nod their heads along with them. After all, they did end up fighting 3 type of gods, or close to that of a god. However, now we find Naruto walking along the water towards a desert island. As far as the island can see, a few days back Shanks' ship docked at the island and told Naruto to stay here for a few days and that they would come and pick him up, and Shanks ordered Naruto not to tell Luffy that he was here and that he could only meet up with him if he was stronger or at least learned how to use his haki. So now here he is walking along a barren wasteland of sand. "Hey Kur, can you sense any life nearby?" Naruto asked as he walked like a zombie across the scorching sand. "Shut up, kid. You asked me that 5 minutes ago, and I told you to keep heading the way you are going, and besides Luffy is in that direction, and you can test out your observation haki, which Shanks said he would teach you first." Kurama growled a bit as he mumbled stuff about impatient brat. Naruto could only nod and sigh in defeat, however that was until he found a huge hole and suddenly fell in it. Naruto screamed as he fell down the dark hole, which seemed to go on for a while until he came flying down into a large room that would remind most people of the Egyptians. And the candles suddenly lit around him, however these were not ordinary candle, these were mysterious candles because the flames were blue and had black tinges in them, which end up drawing Naruto in, and for some reason he was sure he could hear Kurama purr. Just thinking that sent shivers up Naruto's spine. As Naruto looked around the ancient room, he came across a big stone door, which had some weird symbols of a fox. He thought, "Hey Kurt, you know anything about this?" he asked as he looked around the door and noticed two palm-like patterns on the door. "I don't, but I really like the feel of this power that is behind this door, and it's drawing us both in towards it, which makes me drool at the thought of it." Kurama giggled, which caused Naruto to freak out at the fox a bit, but Naruto could only nod along with the fox, as the power did make him shiver in delight and want to jump the power at a moment's notice, so he put his palms on the patterns, and after a few moments the door began to rumble and move as some of the dust and sand dropped off the door and caused Naruto to cough a bit and wave his hand around to clear the view and hide his face as he slowly walked inside the door, which led to a corridor. Although, as he began to walk down the hallway, the same blue flames lit up as he continued to walk down the hallway. Naruto came to a huge opening of the ancient place, which surprisingly looked a lot cleaner than the other parts of the place, as there was no dust or sand. However, something in the middle of the room caught his attention, which made Naruto's and Kurama's eyes widen comically that they nearly fell over, because in the middle of the room was a pedestal, and on that pedestal was what caught our adventurer's attention. This immediately made him begin to walk towards what was a devil fruit, and this devil fruit was exactly how Shanks had described them, and he said that they were meant to be 3x the size of an apple or something like that. Although, and he also said that all of the fruits have their own specific color, and this devil fruit was dark blue with black tips on the edges of the fruit. "Hey Kerr, I don't know about you, but this fruit looks tempting to eat, and I wanna know why this fruit has been drawing us towards it," he says as he slowly picks up the fruit and examines the fruit. "Hey kid, I say you eat it. If I remember correctly, while I was searching through the book of devil fruits, that fruit right there is the strongest fire loja there is, and is powerful enough to surpass Whitebeard when used right," Kurama said, and almost drooled at the fruit. As Naruto widened his eyes at it slightly. "Oh, so what fruit is it then?" he asked as he slowly began to lick the top of the fruit while having slight daydreams about the fruit's power. "It's called the Fukusafeya no Mi, foxfire fruit," he says as he chuckles. "Just call it foxfire fruit for now, it's far too long for my liking," Kurama says as he watches Naruto burst out laughing for a second. "Oh, I should have known this would have attracted us, since you are a fox, and I am currently half fox. It's only right that a foxfire which has the name fox in it would attract us both," he laughs as he rubs his chin, wondering if he should pay the price for not being able to swim. However, that thought was thrown out the window after what Kurama says. "Hey kid, don't worry about not being able to swim, you usually only walk on water anyways," he laughs as he watches Naruto swallow the giant fruit in one bite as Kurama looked at Naruto with a raised eyebrow. Any diff Kurama's words were cut off when Naruto's left hand was suddenly engulfed in blue flames with black tips similar to the flames on the candles, which made Naruto feel a lot warmer, and the flames just felt right to him. As he began walking towards the exit to the tomb while playing around with his flames and his tail unconsciously waggling with excitement and giggling a bit. "I can't wait to see the look on Shank's face when he sees this," he laughs, and Kurama could only smirk at Naruto as he slowly exited the tomb and began to walk towards the place that Kurama told him before. However, this time Naruto could feel a similar power to his close, by which made Naruto very curious about it, but he just shrugged it off and began to walk towards the city. Here we find Naruto walking towards the city of Alabaster with his new attire. Well, he would be wearing a plain shirt, but before he got the fruit he got rid of it, and now he is wearing a black cape similar to Shanks. However, Naruto's cape has blue flames at the bottom, and he's also wearing dark blue shorts with a dark orange satchel over his shoulder and a blue-black holster that holds his revolvers and another slot in case he ever decides that he wants a sword, and some combat boots. If you can probably guess, Naruto is still playing around with his devil fruit powers and at the moment only thought of one move to use with it, and is now currently staring at the flames in his hand as he walks along the hot sand as he lets out a content sigh. "Oh, I'm so glad my devil fruit powers stop me from feeling heat and fire," he says as looks forward to what looks to be the kingdom of Alabaster finally. He shouts as he runs off towards the city, leaving a trail of blue flames in his way. "Wow, I feel like Sonic," he laughs as he notices the blue flames behind him. Although, as he continues to run, he notices a woman with black hair in the distance that caught Naruto's attention, and he begins to walk towards her with his hands behind his head in a carefree attitude. As he walked towards the woman, his eyes widened slightly as he reached for his satchel and pulled out some posters and read over it. "Nico Robin Demon Child 80 million. Over with Robin, she is currently looking at the markings on the side of a destroyed structure, and to Naruto's surprise, it's the same markings as the ones he's seen in the tomb, as Robin heard someone say, and she tensed slightly as she turned round and came face to face with our blonde sage. "Hey," she said, as she had her arms crossed to show she was in her stance. Tressfleur, she shouts, as 3 arms suddenly sprout around Naruto and hold him from moving. However, Naruto didn't even flinch. The only course of action he showed was a raised eyebrow. "What do you want?" she asks, as she holds him in position, though Naruto just sighs. "I noticed you were looking at the markings on the wall of a fox," he replies, as he jerks a bit from her, tightening her hold on him. "What do you know about this?" She says, "Oh, just a certain devil fruit." He chuckles as he sees her eyes widen, and just as she was about to tighten her hold, his flames suddenly engulf his whole body, disabling the hold that Robin had on him. "Foxfire." She gasps as she calms down due to the warm aura the flames emit. "Yeah, if you're looking for the fruit, you're a bit late, since the fruit chose me," he said, as he lit one of his fingers on fire. "By the way, do you know where the Straw Hats are?" he asked as Naruto began to walk towards her. As he looked her over and her attire, cutie chuckled as he seen a tint of pink on her cheek, but she wondered what he looked like since the cape covered most of his face due to having his hood up. "What do you want with the Straw Hats?" she asked as she tried to look at his face in turn. All she could see was the huge grin on his face. "Well, I will be joining his crew in a few years, so I thought I'd come meet him early," he says, which caused Robin to become even more shocked. But before she could ask why, a man in a straw hat was sent flying past Naruto, who narrowed his eyes as he turned his attention to the guy wearing the straw hat. And then he noticed a guy with a hook come out with his lower body covered in sand. "Hey Sandman, don't go killing my soon-to-be captain," Naruto roared as his flames spiked. However, before he could attack the hook guy, he felt a similar power to his own again, which to his surprise sent a shiver of delight up his spine. As with the straw hat guy, he groggily stood up as he had blood down the side of his head and was heavily injured. As he looked over and the cloaked figure who he thought was Shanks until he seen his hair and the blue flames on the bottom of the cape. "Time to try out my first move of my newfound power," he whispers as the cloak covers all of his face except the huge grin on his face. As he aims his finger at the Sandman, "Yo, no bullet," he whispers again as his finger shoots out a blue flame towards his opponent, which the flame could not be tracked with a normal eye due to the speed the flame was traveling, and hit the Sandman in his gut, sending him flying into a nearby wall. As he turns his attention towards the Straw Hat boy and lifts his hood from his head. "Are you Monkey D. Luffy?" he asked as he walked towards him, as his palm turned green as he put his hand on his body, which caused the boy to tense a bit but relax after a while due to his wounds no longer hurting. "Yes, I'm Luffy, and I'm gonna become the king of the pirates." Shishi, he laughs as he puts his hat back on his head. Naruto was about to ask him something until sand begun to pick up around the area and he heard a voice. Molly, no storm," the man shouted as his sand picked up into a small tornado and began to make its way towards Naruto. "Insolent fool, how dare you attack me," he shouted as Naruto formed a small Rasen shuriken in his hand and threw it towards the storm, causing the storm to become nullified. "Will you stop interrupting me, crocodile?" Naruto shouted as he shot hundreds of foxfire bullets towards the now named crocodile. As he was doing so, he didn't notice a man with a cowboy-like hat come out into the opening with his eyes. Naruto with a huge grin on his face as crocodile shot off towards Naruto, surprising him a bit as he punched him in the cheek, sending him back a few feet. As he regained his composure, he felt the same power as before and turned towards the guy wearing the cowboy hat. "Ace." He heard Luffy shout as he returned the smirk towards Ace and began to walk towards him while wiping the blood of his lip. As Ace began to do the same, as they came face to face, they locked arms with each other and orange and blue flames suddenly started to flash between the two, sending a shock wave to anyone who came near them, which is what Crocodile was trying to do until he was blasted back. Inside the flames you can see Naruto and Ace still looking at each other and grinning like madmen. "I knew I felt a familiar power close by," they said in unison. "Hey, so you're Luffy's brother with the Maramara no Mi fruit," Naruto said as he got an idea. As he noticed the flames seemed to fuse into a purple flame with an orange tint. "Hey, how about we try something?" Naruto said as Ace also noticed the flames and already knew what Naruto was going to ask, as they both aimed their arms in the direction of Crocodile, who was currently sweating bullets. As they both shouted, "Yamara no beam." They both shouted as a huge orange-tinted purple beam shot out from their palms and the beam covered Crocodile as he screamed in pain, as Naruto and Ace were left sweating a bit due to never using a fusion devil fruit attack. As they looked towards the now unconscious Crocodile, as he gave Ace a fist bump. "Name's Naruto," he grins as Ace smirks back. "Name's Ace, or my nickname is Fire Fist Ace," he laughed as he noticed Naruto raise an eyebrow. "Yeah, don't tell Luffy." but Shanks told me about Usabo. And Luffy, he chuckled, as he noticed Ace choke a bit. Yeah, after 3 or 4 years he'll be joining Luffy on his crew, but at the moment I am learning how to control my devil fruit power, and hockey, he says. As Ace smirks, hey, if you want during your time on your training trip I'd be glad to help out a fellow fire type devil fruit user, and I bet Marco would love to meet you. After all, our meeting was similar with me. And Marco, although he just wanted to butt heads at first at this, Naruto's smile widened as he laughed a bit. Oh, you mean Phoenix boy? Yeah, I'll be glad to meet him, and I'll tell Shanks that I'll be coming over to see Whitebeard about the training. Ace just shook him off and laughed a bit at the nickname for Marco as they both turned their attention towards Luffy, who was currently talking with some of his crew members and a girl with blue hair as him. And Ace began to walk towards them with Naruto's cape swirling behind him, making him look even more badass. Hey Luffy, Naruto, and Ace shouted in unison again, which caused the two to butt heads. Stop that, they said again now. They both said Agent, but then they just burst out laughing along with the other people who were there. Yeah, what can I do for you? Luffy asked as he sat down with his legs crossed. Naruto just smiled at Luffy. Yeah, I want to join your crew in 3 to 4 years time, Naruto said, as the rest of the Straw Hats appeared and looked towards Naruto with his cloak now overshadowing his eyes. As Luffy just laughed, well, you act really similar to my brother, so I'm welcome to let you join, but what is your dream? Luffy asked seriously, as Naruto just let out a sad sigh. By the time I join your crew, my dream will already be accomplished, he said, as Luffy just nodded and smiled. Okay, I'll see you in 3 to 4 years, he said, as the rest of the Straw Hats introduced themselves to him with open arms, well except Zoro and Sanji, who were still a bit weary of him. Alabaster Kingdom, the feast. Naruto is currently sitting in one of the seats in the royal feast chamber as he scoffs down bowl after bowl of ramen as fast as Luffy can eat meat, which surprised Luffy and the crew, although Luffy was too busy eating Naruto and Luffy both laid back in their chairs patting their bloated bellies with a content sigh. Then Naruto immediately remembered something and looked over towards Usopp, who looked the split and double of his father, who was currently eating, or at least trying to, due to Luffy stealing all the food. Naruto waved at him to come over. As Usopp noticed Naruto waving at him, he was skeptical at first but walked towards him nonetheless, and Naruto whispered in his ear, hey, are Usopp's kid? He asked as Usopp was just about to yell but was stopped when Naruto covered his mouth with his own hand. I don't want Luffy to find out that I've been on Shanks' ship yet, and if Shanks found out he'd kill me, which is why I'm only telling you this, as Usopp gave me something to give to you, since he was never there for you, Naruto said, as he handed Usopp the revolver and the letters. Thank you, Naruto, Usopp said, who was on the verge of bursting into tears, as Robin looked towards Usopp, who slowly left the room and then turned her attention back towards Naruto, who went to cleaning his revolver, who ended up sulking a bit, saying things like I never got to use it, which made Robin giggle a bit, which caught Naruto's attention and made him look at her and smile. What? He asked as he gave her his rare foxy grin, which caused Nami, who was stared at Naruto, to listen to the conversation to blush a bit as well, as Robin, who looked away for a bit before turning back to Naruto. Well, do you know why the devil fruit chose you? She said as the whole room went silent, as Naruto let out a small sigh and said, well, since I'm going to be with you, I might as well show you my true form and my story, he said, as he dispelled the Genjutsu to show his now blue tail and ears with black tips, as he started to explain about Kurama and how he is a Hanyo, which got an unexpected reaction from the girls and boy. Luffy and Ace had stars in their eyes, and Sanji and Zoro were grinning, while the girls were now blushing red at how kawaii they looked in their eyes, which did not go unnoticed by Naruto, who in the end also ended up blushing a bit, as he also told them that he wasn't going to let Kurama out because he was more perverted than Sanji. This caused him to get a glare from him, which Naruto just shrugged off and told Sanji that he was drooling blood from his nose and that if he let him out he would probably jump Nami and Robin, which caused the two to growl a bit, which caused Naruto to hold up his hands. Hey, now I'm only protecting the two lovely ladies, he sighed in relief at the reactions, which was a blush, which in turn caused both girls to think the same thing. My heart is beating fast, Hess, so hot, the two thought, and ended up blushing more. But Naruto's conversation with the ladies were over due to a call for Luffy. Hey Naruto, what's your devil fruit called? He asked as Naruto looked at Luffy with a deadpan. Did you not hear me call out my move? Well, in any case, it's Foxfire. It's apparently the strongest fire loja, but I'm not one to judge since mine and Ace's fusion attack was awesome, he said with pride in his voice, as Ace nodded along with him, who pumped out his chest as the two males began to laugh again with their arms around each other's shoulders, saying stuff like fire is the best and other things related to fire. As Naruto's den began to ring, he guys, this might be my teacher, so I'm gonna have to take it privately, especially not in front of Luffy, he said as he walked out the door and put a firewall up and a privacy barrier and lifted the den out of his pocket. Clank. Hey, what's up, Shanks? he asked, as the Den Mushi that looked like Shanks began to talk. Naruto, we're back from our trip, and we are waiting for you, but you better hurry cause we got the Marines on our ass, he said, as Naruto just smiled. Sure, just let me say bye to the Straw Hats. And I can definitely say the girls are much hotter than what they look like on the poster, he teased, as you could hear Shanks begin to splutter innocent words which caused Naruto to laugh more, as he just smirked. Oh, and I've got a surprise to show you when I get back that I know is gonna be the funniest thing for me, Naruto said, as he finished up the call with his teacher. He walked back and disabling the fire and seal. Well guys, I'm gonna have to go now, since my teacher has had a run-in with a Navi, and I need to get back, so I'll see you in a few years, okay bye, he said with one last foxy grin and winked towards the girls as he flash stepped away, leaving blue flames and a star-eyed Luffy, Usopp and Ace and a blushing Nami, Robin and Vivi. Naruto wondered as he just shrugged it off as he began to flash step towards the ship. With red-haired pirates. Damn it, where is he? Shanks shouts as he activated his sword and swung his sword. Bulgun Sambhog Red Dawn, Shanks shouted as he slashed his sword downwards, and a bright red beam cut one of the battleships in half. Just then a blue flame morphed into Naruto, who was now on one knee, sweating a bit. I'm here now, go. Naruto shouted as Shanks began to give out orders, but he was wondering about the blue flames he just seen. He reminded himself to ask later, but right now he was too focused on getting away from the Marines, he thought, as Naruto summoned some clones to help Shanks' crew move the ship. As Yasop pulled out his rifle, Tulip Nalkala Chong triple sharpshoot, he shouted, as 3 cannonballs that were going to hit the back of the ship suddenly exploded mid-air. The ship then began to move at a fast pace as Naruto lied back against a mass. Oh, this is gonna be a long chase, he sighed as he summoned Kurama. Go have some fun, he muttered, as over the next few hours, Kurama was in his full fox form, demolishing the other battleships like a child's toy. Somewhere at sea, Naruto is currently lying down on the deck snoring away as Shanks walks towards him. Hey Naruto, get up, he shouts as he kicks him in the side of the hip, walking him up and head-butting Shanks right in his family jewels, causing Shanks' eyes to roll in the back of his head and let out a girly scream. Oops, I'm sorry Shanks, he laughs as Shanks' crew is laugh along with him as they see their captain curl into a ball holding his privates. After Shanks recovered from his injury, he looks at Naruto and asks what was with those blue flames earlier. I've never seen you use them before, he asked as he noticed Naruto grin back at him, which for some reason made Shanks nervous. Oh, that it was just my new devil fruit that has the ability to surpass Whitebeard, he says casually as he notices Shanks' eyes go wide as he looks at Naruto with a shocked expression. What fruit? He asked while his jaw was now on the floor as he notices Naruto's grin widen that to the size of a fox's foxfire, he says, as he notices that Shanks can't take that shock anymore as he falls back unconscious, as well as some of the people who were listening to faint as well, which caused Naruto to laugh as he began to walk towards Yasop. Hey Yasop, I delivered your letters and present, as I can happily say you brought him to tears of joy, and he said he was happy that you still cared for him even though you're a pirate. He laughs as he notices Yasop begins to cry comically while rubbing his eyes, saying stuff like warriors don't cry, which only made him laugh more, as when Usopp was crying of joy he said the same thing. Naruto then turned around as he notices that Shanks called his name. It's time to start your training, he said, as Naruto then looked away for a second, then back at Shanks. Hey, do you think you could train me for 2.5 years on my and let the Whitebeard pirates help me with my devil fruit? He asked as Shanks' eyes widened again as Naruto explained that he met Ace and he said he would help him with it, which caused Shanks to smile a bit and nod at his request. Time skip 2.5 years later. Here we find Naruto sitting on the mast of the red-haired pirate ship wearing the same attire as before, looking over. However, this time he had a sword holstered to see as he notices the seagull newspaper deliver a thing drop a newspaper of in front of him, which he opened and yawned as he began to look through the paper. However, his eyes widened on what was on the front page. What the hell is this? Naruto shouted as he dropped down from the mast and began to walk towards the captain's quarters, as everyone who got close to Naruto were surprised by what happened to Naruto and wondered what was on the newspaper that made him this shocked and mad. But what shocked them even more was when he kicked the door down to Shanks' room. Shanks, we have a big problem, Naruto shouted as he threw the paper towards Shanks, who was currently behind his desk, and hid the posters under his desk and caught the paper and began skimming through the paper as his eyes widened as big as Naruto's and had begun to leak his in, which didn't seem to faze Naruto anymore as they both walked outside and he looked towards Naruto. Hey Naruto, I want you to go ahead of us using your flash step and get there as fast as you can, he ordered as Naruto just nodded and disappeared in blue flames. As soon as Naruto was gone, Shanks began shouting orders set a course for Marineford. He shouted, I hope you two brats are okay, he thought as his crew got to work. Thanks for watching my video, see you next time, till then sayonara.